Minky wasn't like the other squirrels in the woods who liked to laugh and play, because Minky was different and pretended to be gay. The other squirrels were not bigots, but were different because they were grey. It's summertime and happy. And all the squirrels are working hard hoarding nuts. But Minky isn't able, so is sat on her fat butt. Why can't I do the same things like scramble up a tree? Why am I mistreated? Why is life so hard for me? Well, Minky tired from doing nothing all day, but sitting and complaining. All the other grey squirrels found it all so draining. So Minky went to bed and had a wonderful dream. Dreamt of a new ideology called communism, woke up with a scheme. Minky yawned and woke with a smile and said, I'll start a new initiative revolving around me. At first it will be a trial to get the greys interested. Then 3 years down the line they will all be too invested. Minky grabbed a twig and said, oh, look at me, I cannot do the work, because I'm LGBT with many disabilities. All the squirrels of the forest sighed and rolled their eyes, fed up with diversity and all of Minky's lies. But the owl, who sat high up the tree, was very invested in Minky's stories. And the LGBT. Every day is a challenge. The big owl said, but if we all work together, we will have a rainbow above our head. And rainbows are wonderful, magical things. But sunflowers are better because they make the bees sing. The grey squirrels weren't happy, but wouldn't resist, because if they didn't agree, they couldn't work in the forest. Many years passed and changes were made. The ideas were now laws and every squirrel obeyed. Until one day, when the stinky self-obsessed rat appeared in the forest, to the squirrels' disbelief, and set up a home on owl-assisted living in a pile of leaves. The stinky rat tried her best to fit in, saw Minky's achievements, and started to begin. I don't mind telling you this, the big rat said, I'm a lesbian too, and I'm also diverse. All the grey squirrels thought the rat was the worst. The rat hummed not in a musical way and chatted all nonsense, so the greys stayed away. Along with the rat came mange and disease, so the owl created a vaccine and made it mandatory. It's just a little prick to keep you safe and well. The owl said, if you don't take it, you will end up in hell because you will be dead. The whole forest was silent for over 2 weeks. No work was done. This was good for Minky. So after the jabs, all the squirrels were sick, but they all said the owl saved them ever so quick. Some of the grey squirrels coughed, some stuttered and some died, but they all stuck together to listen to the owl's lies. Minky was happy in a forest that cared. The greys forced to help because they were scared. But what was so frightening, the reader may ask? Well, if a grey squirrel stood up they'd be put on blast. A few more years passed and it was harmony in the trees. All new, diverse squirrels were all now LGBT. It was great for Minky, and even the fat rat. Some grey squirrels shacked up with the stinker. Just imagine that. One of the greys was whiter than most, had finally had enough. He stood up tall and proud and said, "I've had enough. They restricted you and jabbed you, made you wear dresses. It's like a play. You even opened the gate to the forest and let in the strays. You refused to pull your weight and let yourself starve. Gave up your freedom and you're now left with half. There's a moral to the story if you look clear. It's like communism, COVID jabs, Jews and even the queers are out to destroy your livelihood, to make you live in fear." The greys all muttered under their breath, but they knew the white squirrel was scared of their death. The white squirrel climbed up to the very top of the tree to take his complaint high above the leaves. He saw the great owl, the ruler of all, but the white squirrel knew more. He learned away from the owl's school. The big owl could easily tear the white squirrel to shreds, could lock him up and mess with his head. The owl had more power than me and you, but the owl had an owner, Isaac the Jew. The white squirrel faced the owl and said, "How did you let the greys end up dead? Why did you let the degeneracy win? Why did you let non-forest critters in? It wasn't for the greys, so tell me who wins. Does Minky win for being diverse? What about the smelly rat? She is the worst. Why, Big Owl, was this all planned? Surely you'll admit it's all got out of hand." The great owl looked at the white squirrel and scoffed and chuckled. He said to the squirrel, "Are you having a laugh? I've brought so much diversity, even a giraffe." The white squirrel argued that giraffes belong in Africa and not in the forest. They ate all the leaves on all the trees and shunned diversity, even letting a rat from the big city. The white squirrel started to raise his voice and question the owl about his owner, Isaac, and Isaac's power. Isaac came from a very rich family and owned the woods. It was clear to the white squirrel, Isaac was no good. The white squirrel retreated, knowing he couldn't win. It was time to get stronger and find his true self within. He went down the tree with his newfound wisdom and spread the word throughout the squirrel kingdom. The owl that you listen to isn't invested in you. You are the investment and owned by a Jew. Anti-Semitic, the greys all cried. But don't you all see how the owl lied? All the greys couldn't see the owl's misdeed, and all overlooked old Isog's devious creed. The brave white squirrel left in a huff to set up a new life. He moved a few fields over and found a white wife. Now many years passed, and the white squirrels had many kids and lived in their own forest, away from the yids. The whitest squirrel was happy, and life made sense. The old forest was destroyed by multiculturalism, so they built a fence.